What is going on, XCFL Network? It is your XCFL insider, Brandon Hill, the host of the Hitstick podcast. And we are back. It is season 15. The offseason has just concluded. We had the free agency. We did the draft. We got all new prospects to talk about. So we're going to get right into it today. We have our XCFL season 15 draft recap. We'll go over pick by pick of the first round, who I think hit right on, who missed out, and we'll kind of go right from there. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and take a look at the draft order. You see the Chiefs sitting there in the number 1 spot after having an absolutely terrible year. A few different owners. An owner that went out of town for a little while. Chiefs in the 1 spot, rough season. Eagles in the 2 spot, ended up making a trade. They had a couple first-rounders, packaged them together, moved up to 2. Falcons packaged a couple picks together, moved up, traded with the Panthers. You got the 49ers, Vikings, Patriots, Bucks, Titans, Rams, Chargers round out the top 10. A couple teams with 2 first-rounders. You got the Bucks up there at number 7, number 19. You have the 49ers at 4 and 24. Falcons at 3 and 14. Bengals have 2, 13 and 25. I think that is everybody with 2 picks. Bills 15 and 17 as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The Chiefs had a few needs. They could have really gone a lot of different spots here, and they ended up going with the middle linebacker out of Stanford, Chris Gatewood. It was a rather weak draft class. There was probably 4 or 5 options at this number 1 pick. They debated safety with Frank Flynn. They debated corner with Lindsey Daniels. And then you had the 2 middle linebackers that a lot of people had as their top 2 guys on their board. You can see Gatewood right out of the box here. Superstar development, 87 speed. He is a monster. He's definitely a middle with that 92 tackle. I know, playing in the Pac-12, he definitely was tested in the passing game, and he came in right off the bat with a 79 zone coverage, which is awesome. Weak hit power, but this is a great coverage middle linebacker that's not afraid to come up and stuff the run. Great pick for the Chiefs. At 6'2", 251, 23 years old. He's a smart player, great football IQ, and we will go ahead and move on. So we'll go ahead here. Pick number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. Traded number 8 and number 29 to get here. I had a guy in mind, and they got their guy, Brian Erickson, the 6'1", 236-pound middle linebacker out of Clemson. Erickson is an elite linebacker right out of the box. 87 speed. He's got 89 acceleration or something crazy. The 89 hit power, 91 tackle, 80 block shed. Needs to up the zone coverage a bit. 86 pursuits, perfect for where he's at. And like you said, 22 years old with superstar development. This guy will be probably 90s by the end of this first season. The Eagles had a lot of needs to fill as well, and I think this guy can be a real playmaker for that Philadelphia defense. We'll go ahead and slide on number 3 here. So after both middle linebackers were gone, the next best player, there was a debate between, halfback. Do we see him go corner? The Atlanta Falcons grabbed Lindsey Daniels, the 6'1", 22-year-old out of LSU cornerback. They compare him with Sanalu Gross, their all-pro corner there. Look at it, over 84 overall right out of the box. 94 speed, 96 acceleration. He's 6'1", so he's got some good length to go with the speed. 87 man, 83 zone, 80 press. This guy is a elite corner right off the bat. He'll be their number 2 corner, like I said, next to Gross. And that Atlanta Falcons defense gets a little tougher. Not sure why the Panthers would pass on a once-in-a-lifetime talent like this in the trade, but, to each their own. Falcons end up snagging Lindsey Daniels, one of the top picks in the draft. We will move on to number 4 with halfback Danny Slay for the San Francisco 49ers. 22 years old, 5'11", 221 pounds. You'd like to see the speed a little bit higher, but 89 packed with a 91 acceleration. He'll be all right. Superstar development. He's got a nice mix of that 92 juke, 82 stiff arm, and 91 carry right out of the box too. This is a team who really needed to find their new running back with Isaiah Crowell getting a little bit older. And Danny Slay, steps right in, playing against SEC defenses his entire college career. I think this is a great pick, and I think he will be a stud in the NFC, and I think he's got a shot to kind of work his way up and maybe have a shot at that NFC Rookie of the Year this season. Number 5 here, we'll go to the Minnesota Vikings. It was a very weak quarterback class. One guy kind of stood ahead of everybody else, and it was quarterback Ben Sutherland out of Auburn, 21 years old, 6'2", 213. Right off the bat, you see the slow development. It not ideal for a rookie quarterback for sure, but you do have 21 years old. The 89 throw power is not ideal, but it's not terrible. I think the Vikings' only other quarterback on the roster is a 40-year-old Ben Roethlisberger, whose throw power is 85, 86. So Sutherland is probably going to be the guy here. He's got great short accuracy, medium accuracy, up to deep accuracy. He should be okay. If we can get him out of that slow development, it would be ideal there. Moving on to number 6, the New England Patriots took the strong safety out of Auburn, Frank Flynn. So we have back-to-back Auburn players go there. Frank Flynn is what most people looked at as the best safety in the draft class. It was a really deep safety draft class, so it wasn't a necessity to take a safety early on if it was your main need. But, the Patriots saw Frank Flynn, 93 speed, 92 acceleration, 77 zone coverage, paired with the 86 hit power, 85 pursuit. This guy is, he kind of reminds me of an Earl Thomas, where he can play the pass, he can come up and fill in the run. Around that same size, 5'10", he is a solid 230 pounds. You'll see him play up in the box a lot, I'm sure. 24 years old, he's a little older, stayed at Auburn a couple extra years there. But, it's a great pick. Put him in that much-needed strong safety spot in this league. Safeties are a huge deal, and Frank Flynn will be a starter for this New England Patriot defense for the years to come. So we'll move on here to the next pick, and it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 7. This was a very interesting prospect, and it is Donovan Banks out of Florida State. 6'4", 207, great size, great length. 24 years old was the only downfall here, which is the reason I think he slipped to 7, but everyone others lost is the Bucs gain. 91 speed, 94 acceleration, 83 man, 91 agility, and 80 press. This is a big body guy. If you can get the zone coverage up, he can be a shutdown corner in the XCFL. And we know all these elite passing attacks. And this will be an interesting matchup to watch when the Bucs and the Falcons get together. We're going to see a lot of Donovan Banks on DeMarco Office, and I think that'll be an awesome matchup. Hold on, I got to plug my laptop into the charger here. But yeah, Donovan Banks from Florida State to the Bucs at 7. I think this fills a big need for the Bucs. I know they were shopping Ronald Darby all offseason, so it's a much younger cornerback that they can slide right on in there. And we'll slide on to number 8. The Tennessee Titans ended up trading Adoree Jackson for the number 2 pick, then traded the 2nd pick to the Eagles for 8 and 29. And with that, they grabbed Marion Blackman out of Florida State. So we have back-to-back DBs from Florida State here. Blackman is 6'3", almost 200 pounds, 23 years old. I'm guessing he'll be paired back there with, what's his name? That one guy, Jamal Adams, of course. Big season last year for Adams, 14 interceptions. And I think, you pair a smaller Adams with a 6'2" Blackman here, and you could see something special. 83 zone coverage, 90 speed, 91 acceleration, 84 pursuit, quick development. Blackman is going to be a stud for this Tennessee defense, and it fills a much-needed void on their defense. And we'll move on here to one of my favorite picks, and it is the Los Angeles Rams. I wanted to call them St. Louis. The Los Angeles Rams go with left end O.C. Stevens out of Florida State. So back-to-back defensive players from Florida State. Normal development, 78 strength, but this is a legit speed rusher. He's 21 years old, 6'2", 244. He can play 3-4 outside linebacker. He can play 4-3 D end. 87 finesse move, 77 power, 90 acceleration for a guy like this. This is going to be a fun defensive line to watch. They got the Bowers, and I forget the other D tackle's name. Then they got Aaron Donald at one end. This defensive line is one of the scariest defensive lines in the XCFL. Aaron Donald's wreaked havoc on this league for a long time to come. I believe it's Gordon Buckley and Russell Bowers, the two monsters, both 6'7", 15 plus pounds. And you put O.C. Stevens with a little more of a finesse, speed pass rush on the other side of Aaron Donald and these three big boys. I think this Rams pass rush could do some serious damage this season. So I really like that pick, especially getting him all the way at 9. It's a very talented player to fall at number 9. Number 10, we have the Los Angeles Chargers, and they go with the rookie outside linebacker of Ohio State, Brett Patterson. I really like this pick as well. I feel like Patterson can play inside or outside. 87 speed, 88 tackle, 90 hit power. This is a great pick for the Chargers organization. You see the 78 finesse move, so he does have a little pass rushing capability, 77 pursuit. I like this pick. This is a defense who has playmakers like Tremonde Franklin in the secondary, and they really needed to add some linebacker depth. They're getting kind of old there. He'll step in day one and be a starter for this organization for a long time to come. We will go ahead and move on to number 11, and that was the New York Jets, and they went with D-tackle out of Tennessee, Rodney Reed, 6'4", 300 pounds, 90 strength. You'd like to see the power moves a little bit higher, the block shot higher, but he is a rookie. You got to remember, 82 acceleration for a big fellow like this. I think the New York Jets got a good one here at number, what number is this? 12, I believe, 11. Number 11. It was a big debate. Which is the best D tackle in the draft? Is it Rodney Reed? Is it Bennett Collins? The Jets went with Reed. I'm guessing the strength. Collins didn't hit as many reps at the bench press, but I don't think you can go wrong with either. Both have strengths. The other one has weaknesses of. So I think Rodney Reed's a good pick for what the Jets are trying to do. They had a lot of needs on that defense. Their secondary still needs a little help, but there wasn't any corners, I don't think, to justify going this early. So I like the pick. You can help out your decent corners with the pass rush, and I think that's what Rodney Reed will bring to the New York Jets organization. So on to number 12, the Heisman winner, rookie out of Wisconsin, middle linebacker Howard Killings. What a name for a middle linebacker. So we have our third middle linebacker go. Killings, he had a great college year. Most GMs didn't see his skills translating as well to the XCFL. 6'1", 243. Only 82 speed, which is the big knock on him. Not a lot of talent at middle linebacker on this Packers roster, but he does get the superstar development, the 77 pursuit. As far as coverage goes, his zone is only a 63, which is not what you're looking for out of a new starting rookie middle linebacker. But, with the superstar development, I think you'll be able to upgrade him quickly. And the Packers took the risk, knew they were getting the superstar development, and Howard Killings comes in at a 71 overall. You got to fill your needs, and this is the guy they thought was best to do that, and Killings is now a Green Bay Packer. Once again, one of the better names in the draft. There's only one name I think I like better, but we'll get to that later. Number 13, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, their first pick in the first round, and they go with Casey Raiola out of Oklahoma, 6'4", 334-pound guard. 92 strength, 81 run block, 87 impact block right out of the box. He's a great guard. Oklahoma known for their passing attack down there, but this is with this size at 6'4", 334, 92 strength, put up a ton of reps at the bench press. Raiola is going to be a solid interior lineman in the XCFL for many years to come. The Bengals really could have gone anywhere with this pick, and I think they got one of the better linemen in the draft, in a very deep lineman draft, that's for sure. Number 14. The Atlanta Falcons' second pick in the first round, and they went with Eugene Sandage out of Nebraska, 22 years old, 6'2", 237. He is a pass-rushing outside linebacker, 84 speed, 88 block shed. The Falcons had a need for an outside linebacker. With Vic Beasley getting up there at 30, Swanson, 27. I think Sandage can step in. Day one, 90 acceleration. I think this is somebody with the superstar development you got to get in the lineup right off the bat. 79 finesse moves, so you can play him as an outside linebacker in a 3-4 where you can rush. 79 zone coverage. He really can play inside, outside, wherever you really want him to. But he's a great pick, especially with the superstar development. To get him at 14, a few teams might have missed on this guy, and I really like this pick for the Atlanta Falcons. And only 22 years old. All right, moving on to 15, we have the Bills' first pick, and it is Daron Montgomery, the superstar running back out of Southern Florida. There were a couple mixed things about Montgomery at the XCFL Combine. He busted out a 4.44 40, but then there were rumors at his pro day that he shot out a sub 4.3. You definitely can see it with the 94 speed, 96 acceleration, 87 juke move. You know, the Bills in the offseason traded away Kaioon Hunt to the Detroit Lions, which kind of left them with a need at running back. They didn't get anybody in free agency that they were going for. I think they were going for the Raiders' old Darius Jackson. Missed out there. They have Herb Hamilton on the lineup, who's a speed guy as well. But with Montgomery, you know what you're getting. You're getting a 6', 200-pound, 22-year-old back. You know, the 77 elusiveness. He's got 89 agility. You see the juke move. This is a guy that's going to come in day one, and, you know, their passing attack was awesome last year with LC7 leading the way. Anybody you can put around him to help take the load off, you know, the quarterback, it's gonna help this Buffalo Bills offense. Had a few needs on defense you would have liked to see him fill, but, you know, you can't pass up a talent like this. You got the superstar development. This is going to be a big year for Montgomery. I think we'll see him have a big season. It kind of just depends if they can get the run game established and get kind of away from that just all aired out attack. But regardless, nice pick. Montgomery, not a bad one at all, especially 15. So now we will go on to 16. We are at the halfway point, and we have Bennett Collins, the D tackle that the Denver Broncos took out of Tennessee. 22 years old, 6'2", 298. This is a bowling ball. You'd expect a little more strength, but he packs a nice. He has a nice speed for a big fella. You see the 84 acceleration. This is the other D lineman, the other D tackle we were just talking about earlier. 75 speed, 84 acceleration. He's a little bit quicker. He's got the quick development, 86 power moves. So, it's kind of you pick what you want with Reed or Collins. Both great picks. Both go to teams who needed to help the interior defensive line. 22 years old. You can't go wrong with Bennett Collins, the defensive tackle out of Tennessee. Number 17, the Buffalo Bills' second pick. They do get a defensive player, and it's Houston Lee out of Oregon. 6'3", 285, 22 years old, 86 strength, 85 tackle, 86 power moves. This guy can play inside or outside. 79 acceleration to go with the 73 speed. I like it. He's a run-stopping defensive end. He can also be a pass-rushing defensive tackle. I think it fills a need for the Buffalo Bills, who we just talked about had a few needs to fill on defense, but they're getting younger. They brought in Long Dane in the offseason, another defensive tackle who can play, defensive end if they need him to. They got Ndichi on the outside. It'll be an interesting defensive line. I think they have a lot of talent. Perry Wilkerson, I think he was a rookie last season out of Oklahoma as well. So I think you got your two young defensive ends moving forward. Long Dane in the middle as Marcel Darius gets up there in age. But this Buffalo Bills is here to play, and I like what they're doing through the draft. We will move on to pick number 18, the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns end up getting Spencer Blevins out of Ole Miss, 6'5", 307. He's a tackle, played left tackle in college. Blevins was ranked very highly on a lot of XCFL teams' boards, but he slipped. And I think he slipped just because the strength has scared people away, but 85 strength is nothing to laugh at, especially when it comes paired with 86 pass block, 85 impact block, and 83 run block right off the bat. He's got the acceleration where you could move him inside and play guard if you needed. I think he will fit as a right tackle in the XCFL. Not ready for the left tackle role yet, but he is only 22 years old, so he definitely has room to grow. Moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' second pick in the draft, and they went CB the first one. They're going another DB here, and they're going free safety Brian Hernandez out of The Ohio State University. 5'10", 228, 92 speed. Very low zone coverage, but you see the hit power. This guy packs a punch. You pair him with another safety you took, I believe, last season. Another guy out of Ohio State, and it was Keon Townsell. Another guy who was a little low zone coverage, but he's up now. And I think you pair these guys together, and they're going to be something special. You also have Keyston Barnes, the 6'4" safety out of USC. I like Brian Fernandez. It might not fill a need right away, but it gives you a 22-year-old you can kind of develop. You can play on passing downs or running downs, however you want to do that. 83 tackle. It's a nice pick for the Bucs, getting one of those safeties that we talked about. And we will move along here to pick number 20, and it is the Panthers. They traded down from 2 to get picks 20 and 28 and a couple other picks. And they went with right tackle Trey Marsh out of Clemson. 21 years old, 6'5", 307. Little low on the strength side, but he's a pass blocker. He 84 pass block, 89 impact block. He does have the speed if you want to play him at guard once the run block gets up. Not a bad pick, especially 21 years old. This Carolina Panthers roster needs young, talented players, and Trey Marsh brings just that to this team. And like I said, very deep offensive line class, so you can find a lot of value throughout the end of the first to the second, third round. We will move on to pick number 21, and it is the Detroit Lions. They grab kind of a shocking pick, but they go with DeMarcus Meyer, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss, 6'6", 230 pounds, 22 years old. The Lions take him to pair him with Gordon Todd and Dixon Bishop, their other monsters at receiver. 92 speed, 89 XL. You can see the catching stuff right off the bat with 88 catching, 85 catching traffic, 83 spectacular catch. Very low overall. It was a big reach, but the Lions saw him, identified who they wanted, and really didn't have any major needs to fill right off the bat, so they went with the guy they thought would turn into the most talented player, and that is DeMarcus Meyer out of Ole Miss. Moving on, the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders, another team with not a lot of needs. They did part ways with Derek Carr, but there was no quarterback to justify taking in this first round, and so they settle on the right tackle out of Oregon, Alex Fleener, 24 years old, 309 pounds, 6'5", 88 strength, 82 run block, 82 pass block, 86 impact block. This is what those deep offensive line classes. The Raiders had a very talented offensive line, but it is getting older. So I see Fleener stepping in as a day one starter. At what position, I am not sure, but he can play anywhere along this offensive line, especially with that 88 strength. I like this pick for the Raiders, and that, we'll get the quarterback later in the draft. Moving on to the New York Football Giants, and they go with cornerback Haynes Reed, another Ole Miss product, 6 feet tall, 210 pounds. This is a very talented player, and to fall all the way down here to 23, you got to be happy if you're the New York Giants. One of the top corners in this draft, I would have probably gone with Avery Tootin that the Redskins took later in the draft, but Haynes Reed is a great pick. 91 speed, 92 excel, 85 man, 81 zone, 91 agility, 81 press. This is a great guy to put in this Giants secondary who needs to get younger, that is for sure. You have Landon Collins, who's kind of your staple back there, but you have a 27-year-old Eli Apple, who's never really hit his full potential. Janoris Jenkins is 33. Ross Cockrell's 31. It is time to move on from some of these old guys, and Haynes Reed gives them the ability to do that. They made a few moves in the offseason to grab a couple young guys, but this is a guy who can come in day one, be your number one, number two cornerback, whatever you need him to do. I like this pick for the New York Giants. Moving on to the San Francisco 49ers. They took a reach here, and it ended up paying off. You see Rashawn Reed, the outside linebacker out of Maryland, 22 years old, 232 pounds, 6'1". Love this pick from the 49ers. It is, a lot of people had him ranked low, probably for some issues he had in college, but he translates very well into the XCFL. You see the 85 speed. You pair the 85 speed to go along with 89 acceleration. He's got 85 pursuit, the 89 hit power. Zone coverage is at 77, so he can kind of play. He can play your 4-3 outside linebacker. He can play middle linebacker in either scheme. I like Rashawn Reed. He fills the need for the 49ers. Very talented linebacker group for the Niners. I know they're trying to move on from Reuben Foster. They grabbed Derek Moyer in the offseason. And then you also have Nicholas Howard, the 26-year-old stud out of UConn. I like this pick. It gets him a lot better on defense and fills the need right off the bat for him. We will move on to the Bengals' second pick in the draft, and they went with Harvey Himes, the left end out of Nebraska. Himes was very, very high on a lot of people's boards, but it's one of those cases on draft day where he just kind of slips. I think it had to do with the 76 strength. But, he's not bad overall. He, 83 speed, 86 acceleration. He is a speed rusher. He's much like O.C. Stevens, just not as talented, not as fast, which is why he went all the way down here. But 81 finesse moves, 77 power moves is nothing to gawk at either. 82 block shed. I like Harvey Himes. With the Bengals, you really can't go wrong because they had a lot of needs to fill. So we'll see Harvey Himes. The Bengals, they got a 3-4. He can play 3-4 outside linebacker. He's not great in coverage, but he's a pure pass rusher. So you can never go wrong taking the pure pass rusher because pass rushing is so important in the XCFL. Moving on. It was the Kansas City Chiefs. They went with Chris Gatewood with their first pick, and now all the way down here at 26. They traded next year's first to get back in here. They go with Duron Dickerson out of LSU, 23 years old, 6'1", 200 pounds. You got the 88 speed, 89 excel, but 79 zone coverage with the guy. He's got length to pair with 87 hit power. I really like this Dickerson pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. They got rid of Eric Berry this offseason. Instead of wasting your first round pick and taking that Frank Flynn way up there, you're able to grab Gatewood and still get a safety, almost a Flynn's caliber, a little bit slower. And it ends up working out. You get the value pick at number 1, and you're able to still get your starting free safety, strong safety early on. You get to pair him with Jacoby Mack, the safety product out of Wisconsin, who's been awesome in the XCFL so far. I think this is a nice safety duo as Nick Z looks to rebuild this Kansas City Chiefs team. Moving on, the Washington Redskins. We knew it was going to be a DB. We didn't know which one. 6'2", 194, 22 years old, Avery Tootin out of South Carolina State. You don't see a lot of guys go in the first round out of South Carolina State, so this is a interesting pick. It was a reach, but it ended up paying off. 91 speed, 91 XL, 91 agility, 84 man, 79 zone with the 81 press. I like this pick. Getting rid of Darius Slay in the offseason, you created a need at nickelback, and I think this is a guy that can slide right in day one and fill that position. You have Thomas Holland, you have Taylor Nunley, you have Desmond Coleman, you have now enter Avery Tootin, so you have very talented corners to go along with Caesar Claiborne and Monte Nicholson in that secondary. They went with best available player, and I think they got it. And we'll see how Jack looks to develop this guy in his defensive scheme. Moving on, Carolina's second pick, another awesome name. I think this is my favorite name in the draft, and it is cornerback Tank Morris out of Tennessee. A lot of Tennessee guys. 5'10", 210, so he's a solid 210. 21 years old. 88 speed. You look at it first, but paired with the 94 acceleration and the 90 agility, it's a pretty good pick. 78 overall, 77 man, 83 zone. 21 years old, so it's cheap to upgrade this guy. I think it'll be a good pick for the Panthers moving forward. A good draft for the Panthers so far, but you'd think you'd rather have that Lindsey Daniels. But not a bad pick. Tank Morris, 21 years old, all the way down here at 28, I believe that was. Yeah, that was 28. So 29, we have the Tennessee Titans. Their second pick they traded number 2 for 8 and 29, I mentioned a few times. And they go with the 6', 200 pound, 24-year-old corner out of Michigan State, Marshawn Rucker. Rucker, 89 speed, 92 XL. You can see the coverages, 88 press. This is somebody, you grab the safety early on, and this is somebody, it's going to be interesting for this Tennessee defense. I think he steps in day one as your starter. He traded Dory Jackson to get up there, and with the Dory Jackson trade, you end up filling 2 big needs with Blackman at safety and Rucker at corner. So the Titans go 2 secondary players with their first 2 picks in the first round. Great draft for the Tennessee Titans. To number 30, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and man, did they get a good one. They went with right guard Grant Everett out of Georgia, 6'1", 298, 22 years old, 87 strength, 84 run block, 81 pass, 87 impact block, and then you see the superstar dev. To get a guy at 30th overall with superstar development is awesome. I think they moved him to right guard. He was a center, but regardless, he's a great interior lineman. 87 impact block with 87 strength will make this guy a starter for a long time to come. He now gets the job of blocking for one of the best running backs in the XCFL, if not the best, Leonard Fournette. The Jags offensive line got a lot younger and a lot more talented with a Grant Everett pick. Moving on to 31, the runners-up in the Super Bowl, the Baltimore Ravens, go with the defensive tackle Ontarius Birch out of Minnesota. 87 strength is really all there is to this guy. But they needed to fill a need, and when you're the runners-up, you don't have many needs to fill, and it's that defensive line. Wormley's getting up there in age at 28 years old. So I think this is a guy you can grab right away and get him right into your scheme. He's solid. He can play in a 3-4. He can play in a 4-3. So he's very versatile on that offensive line. Great pick for the Baltimore Ravens. And we will go with the last pick, the 3-time Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys. And they go with wide receiver Josh Kinney out of LSU, 24 years old, 6'1", 206. I would say this is a need. You traded away Des Bryant a couple years, or you let him hit free agency, one or the other. You got B.J. Booth, your speed receiver. You drafted Ray Blair, your height guy, 6', 239, a couple seasons ago. So enter Kinney, very talented, 87 catch, 86 catch in traffic, 91 spec catch. I look for the Cowboys to get him involved right away. He does have the slow dev, which can scare some people away. But this late in the cycle with already, traits and attributes like this, I don't think it's a bad pick for the Dallas Cowboys, especially a team coming off back-to-back Super Bowls. You really can't go wrong. But that will round up, 1 through 32. So let's go ahead and take a little look at the draft as a whole here, the first round at least. Gatewood goes back-to-back middle linebackers go 1 and 2. Daniels at 3. Halfback Danny Slay at 4. And then we see our first and only quarterback taken in the first round, Ben Sutherland for the Vikings. Overall, the draft class, everyone was saying it was a really weak class at first, but it ended up not being as bad as most people thought. You could find talent. You just had to look for it. A lot of superstar quick devs, not many slow devs going round 1. Very strong safety class, very strong offensive line class, and it turned out to be a decent defensive end class as well, and corner. I mean, it was a pretty deep class. Not superstar packed like some of the drafts we had in the past, but overall it was pretty good. Sorry I went over this kind of quick, crunched on time today, but we hit all 32 teams. If I'm looking at this and I had to pick a first rounder out of the NFC and AFC that I would say would be the front runner for offensive and defensive rookie of the year, so only counting first rounders, not counting second rounders, I'll probably go with, I think O.C. Stevens for the Rams can have a big season paired with that defensive line. So I think if he can come up with some big sacks, I think that's something to keep an eye on. I really like Brett Patterson at number 10 for the Chargers. As far as the offensive side of the football, you want guys who are going to have the football in their hands a lot. The two guys that stick out are obviously going to be Danny Slay, the halfback the 49ers took, and then the halfback Jerome Montgomery that the Bills took at 15. A very packed defensive draft with only 3 offensive players going in the top, 17 picks? Three offensive players going in the top 17 picks. But DeMarcus Meyer with the Lions offense will see a lot of ball. Josh Kinney with the Cowboys will see a lot of football. But I think one of those running backs will kind of run away with the Rookie of the Year if we're going first round. But overall, great draft. Excited to get the season going, see what these guys have. That's another great rookie class for the XCFL. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It has been the Hitstick Podcast with Brandon Hill, and I am out of here. Good luck this season, everybody.